Hello and welcome back to Kabamba Farms. Today, I want to share something personal and deeply meaningful to me. I've been honored and humbled to be invited to speak at the YALI Mandela Fellowship networking event at Georgia State University here in Atlanta, Georgia. And I can't express how grateful I am to be part of this gathering of Africa's brightest and boldest young leaders. This is not just an event. It's a moment of purpose, a moment to inspire, to share, and to grow. When I received the invitation, I paused and reflected. Why me? What is it about my story that could inspire others? And then I realized it's not just about farming. It's about the journey. It's about choosing to respond to Africa's challenges, not with complaints, but with commitment. And then to be asked to speak at the YALI Fellows is a reminder that our everyday actions matter. That your story, whether it starts on a farm, in an office, or in a small village, can become a spark of change. Kabamba Farms started with a simple dream: to return to Africa, to use my hands to feed people, to create jobs, to restore dignity to the land. I didn't have a blueprint. I didn't have massive capital. But I had something more powerful: vision, consistency, and faith. We began with just one cow. Today, Kabamba Farms is home to pigs, goats, chickens, cattle, rabbits, you name it. But more importantly, it is a place where dreams are cultivated and young people are empowered. We didn't just grow animals. We grew hope, jobs, and impact. So being invited to speak at the YALI Mandela Washington Fellowship means a lot. It means farming is being recognized not just as a labor trade, but as a leadership path. It means a farm in Zambia started with one cow now has a voice in rooms where policies are discussed, ideas are shared, and the future is being shaped. It means the continent is watching, the youth are watching, and the time to lead is now. To every YALI fellow watching, to every young African leader, your journey matters. Your idea matters. You are the light of this continent. Whether you are in agriculture, tech, education, or government, your journey matters. You may not always feel qualified. You may feel your dream is too small, but remember, big things start small. If one cow can grow into a full farm, if a farm can create jobs, if that story can reach a room full of leaders at Georgia State University, then imagine what you can build if you don't give up. This invitation to speak isn't just about me. It's about all of us who dare to lead differently, to build sustainably, and to rise together. So, once again, I would say your contribution, however small, can shift an entire generation. Don't wait for perfect conditions to start. Start small. Start scared. But start anywhere. Whether you are in tech, education, law, creative arts, or agriculture, what Africa needs most right now is not more talk. We need doers, builders, problem solvers, people willing to start with what they have and multiply it. Kabamba Farms started with a cow. You may start with a laptop, a classroom, a pen, a camera. Whatever it is, use it, build from it, let it grow. When I stand before the YALI Fellows, I don't just bring my story. I bring the story of every African farmer, of every youth who stayed behind when others left, of every young leader returning from the diaspora to plant something meaningful at home. Representation matters. If Kabamba Farms can be a model of what's possible, then that story is worth telling. To my brothers and sisters in the diaspora, come back, not just physically, but mentally and financially. Come back to reinvest in your roots, in your people. Africa doesn't need saviors, it needs partners. People who can take knowledge and turn it into action. Yes, there are challenges, but there is also fertile ground, literally and fructively. The farm has taught me that the vision, discipline, and faith, even a humble beginning, can produce abundant harvest. Kabamba Farms is not just about food. It's about job creation, youth empowerment, food security, entrepreneur, national building. We believe that every egg sold, every pig raised, every goat delivered is part of a bigger picture. An Africa that feeds itself, an Africa that creates wealthy locally.
What we have here, what we have here is a great, an exceptional example of leadership. Mr. Vomo took part in a tour with Dr. Hill in 2017, and since then he has been a part of this great fellowship. He has taken the initiative. Dr. Hill found his personality so astonishing. She said, you know what, next year I really would like for you to come on board and help these young leaders. Mr. Vomo is a seasoned project man with a background in overseeing complex operations in the healthcare and pharmaceutical sectors. This is where Dr. Hill and Alexander met, as I told you before. Leveraging his expertise in planning, execution, and team leadership, Alexander has successfully transitioned his passion for agriculture into a full-time venture. Kabamba Farms, based in Zambia. Kabamba Farms is a growing agricultural enterprise focused on livestock production and sustainable farming. Mr. Alexander is committed to inspiring young Africans to view farming as not just a tradition, but as a powerful tool for economic transformation. He is honored to share his journey with all of us today. In fact, as I would quote Mr. Alexander, he said, agriculture is the new normal. Every form of food comes from a farm. People will always want to eat. Mr. Alexander had no formal background in agriculture, but he took the leap of faith and started Kabamba Farms. Now, if all of you want, you guys have phones, you can go onto YouTube and check him out. He's got a bunch of videos on there to continue leading all of you young leaders into farming, livestock, pigs, cows, all of this, all the good stuff. Mr. Alexander Vomo. Oh, by the way, did I mention he's Ezekiel's peer, he's Ezekiel's project coach? So you guys are missing out.
Jesus bleeded out. Should have touched Africa. Yeah. Good morning. Welcome everybody. Thank you so much. I'll start by names. I like to get to know countries of where everybody's come from. You know, it's very unfortunate. Africa is a country. It shouldn't be a continent. It was meant to be one country with one president. You know, then we should be crossing with no borders. We should be going to see some friends here and there, you know. Yes. You from?
South Africa.
Okay, good. Sanibonani.
Dumela, we say Dumela.
Yeah, I lived in Johannesburg for 11 years.
It makes sense now.
Yeah, I worked in Johannesburg and Durban.
Okay.
Yeah, you
So
live in Johannesburg?
No, Rustenburg, Northwest.
Oh, Sun City.
Oh, that's like 5 minutes away from my home.
Yeah, I should my next visit actually I'll stay at your house.
Oh, not a problem.
I don't have to stay at the hotel when I'm in Sun City. Yeah. I go to Sun City a lot, yeah. Okay, good. Zimbabwe. Cameroon.
Yes.
Oh, good. Cameroon, Madagascar. My Namibian sister, we've talked already. You from?
Seychelles.
Seychelles. Oh, that's another part that's branched off from Africa, you know. You from?
Cape Verde.
Oh, Cape Verde. Okay, you're the second person I've met. Yes. Kenya. Yeah, we met earlier. Your name is again? Mary. Nice meeting you. Yeah. You know, I always meet a lot of Kenyans during this Mandela Fellowship. Actually, how many of you on this program? No, the Kenyans. Yeah. Yes, there's always a lot of Kenyans. Yeah. You know, I would like to start by saying welcome to America. I feel good when I'm welcoming my fellow Africans into this program. You know, I've been doing this peer collaboration since 2017, and I love it. Every time I hear people coming in, you know, I always jump in, and actually I'm part of what they call program selector. I have to look on the name of it, where I get to be given about 50 people. Some of you may know, maybe it's me who selected you. They don't give me people from Zambia because it's conflicts of interest, you know. So, but I always select about 50 people from different countries. I will read your profiles when you're sending to the embassy before the embassy can approve you and give you a visa. I am part of the team that say, okay, this lady Ravaka, I'll say, okay, Ravaka, she's got a good profile. I think she's serious. Or Daisy, you know. So I'm part of that team with the Mandela Fellowship that select people. Yes, yeah. So, like I said earlier, I've been in this program since 2017, and you guys, you have such a big opportunity of having this thing. Networking is one of the biggest things that you can collaborate in every program that you want to get involved into. You know, in Africa, sometimes we lack resources. We have so many ideas of the things that you want to do, and then there are times when you try to rely on the government, and the government can't help out. So then we just say, oh, what's next? And then you end up doing not doing things that you're doing. So you need to learn to network. You know, I've been networking, and I'm a certified project management personnel. That's my career. Through experience and time with everything that I've done, that's how I ended up starting more of a remote business. You know, I'm an entrepreneur at the same time. I've done so many different businesses in Africa, but my story of farming came in through just looking back. I'm thinking, what can I do that will be very serious while I'm still in the USA? But there's always a heart for back home, you know. That's why they always say there's no place like home, you know. I tried so many different businesses, and then I started getting inspired by YouTube. You know, YouTube is another best way of networking. So I started watching YouTube of how people were, most of them were relocating back home, you know, trying to start something. And a lot of them were talking about agriculture. Somebody says, I quit being a doctor, you know, and then ended up studying farming. I quit being an engineer. Somebody was working at the Wall Street, quit the job in Wall Street and went back to Africa. Then I started asking myself, so these guys going back to Africa, they quit their jobs. how much money did they make before they go back? And only to find out actually it wasn't even about the money. It was about that leap of faith to say, I want to, you see, because you know in life sometimes when you have a vision, you got to stick to your vision and fight to make sure that your vision can come out, you know. So I just said, you know what, I'm going to try, let me go into farming. And I heard somebody was selling land within the area where I come from. And I just took out my investments and I bought the land. Started with no experience in farming, just watching YouTube here and there, people talking about what they're doing. I bought land and I started buying animals. I started with 4 pregnant pigs. I think I had 2 goats and cows here and there. So just buying every time, you know, because cattle is a long-term investment. So I'm still buying cattle. But our farm is now thriving from pigs because, you know, pigs, they multiply within a short time. I started with 4 pigs, 4 pregnant pigs. That's about 4 years ago. Today we've sold hundreds of pigs, and we have 2 pig houses. One has a capacity of 300 pigs, then the bigger one has a capacity of 700 pigs. So right now, if somebody came in and tell me, can you supply me 300 pigs? I've got 300 pigs ready to go on the market, other than the ones that we use for breeding. So that's how my story started with farming. All about networking. I just went in to say, you know what, I need to go into this. And how does it work? I'm here in the USA, but I've got a commercial farm running through my project management experience, you know. So my encouragement, most of the time I look at people and say, you know, sometimes you don't want to, you don't need to wait for employment. Create employment yourself. So I've created employment from farming, you know. At the same time, while I'm an employee, I've become an employer. I've created jobs for the youth. You know, at the same time, I'm contributing with the food security in Africa. So it may not be just farming. You know, you may be an engineer. You want to have something that you want to do. Is it software developing? What do you need to help? You know, so instead of us sitting and waiting for that job to be given, we need to learn to network. How can I change this narrative of me waiting for employment? How can I create or become an employer on my own? Because when you look at being a young African leadership fellowship, you know, you're the ones who tomorrow are going to be somebody else. You're the one who tomorrow going to be the Dangote of this world. You're the one who's going to be the Jeff Bezos of this world. So there's something that you have to do. So let's not have the mind of waiting for employment. Let's create that atmosphere. The world is changing. You know, we're living in the world of networking. Like I'm an example. I'm sitting here today. Right now, my animals are being fed. You know, somebody's driving, going to the border to sell some pigs for me, but I'm here. So it's that networking with trust. You know, I run a business where I buy equipment that I supply to the mines, because Zambia is full of mining companies. You know, so they want equipment here and there from other manufacturers. I have companies that trust me, so trust also comes in. They trust me to give me products to sell in the mining companies in Africa. Some of them, like I was trying to say, you don't sometimes need the money, you need that networking. Some companies in Japan would give me the equipment for me to sell in Africa without me paying for them, because they've trusted me. So when I get those equipment, I sell them to the companies in Africa. Within the short term, maybe 30 days, depending on the contract, 30 days or 45 days, they pay me. That's when I'll pay the companies, the manufacturers. So you see what networking does. You know, I'm collaborating with Ezekiel. You know, the other day we were talking, me and Ezekiel, he was telling me about the program that he's doing. You know, and then I just happened to share with him how you can start exporting either to the USA or to Dubai. You can help the farmers with your program. Why don't you create a software where now your farmers can find the market through your software and export the goods in Dubai, or export some farm produce here in the USA? Because here in the USA we have what we call farmers market. These are international market. If you go in that farmers market, you'll be surprised. There is a flag from Madagascar, there is a flag from Cameroon, there is a flag from Namibia. Somebody in Namibia is supplying farm products in that shop. Somebody from Cameroon is supplying. So you want to say, wow, you know, it's about that networking, you know. So that's just how the story of my farm started, through just my project management experience and going from there. So I'm gonna take a break and see if there's any questions from you guys, and then we'll move on from there.
Okay, I think it's not really a question from my end, but to also thank you for your time. I mean, it's very rare for people who are busy to dedicate their time to, you know, to offer more information to culture exchange students, and more importantly that you are from the African country and then you came this side. Yeah, maybe if you don't mind sharing with us to tell us why are you in US, and how long have you been this side, and how often do you also go home?
Oh yes.
You know, I know we are not in the political program, but I would also love to hear your views in terms of what's your view in terms of what's currently happening now. Does that affect your business, because you're doing a lot of business? You just told us now that you do a lot of work, and other people you send them to sell some certain things at the border. Does that affect your work in any way?
Okay. Thank you. Yeah. So that's a good question to start with. So
I'm also trying to take notes, so I think I need to get my notebook. It's
yes.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I've got two homes. This is home for me. You know, I live here and then in Zambia. So I've been here for almost 20 years now. Yes. So I came to the USA. I came to school, and then after I finished school, I decided I didn't have an intention of actually staying, but that's when the political part came in. You know, when I started looking at things changing after spending most of my time here, I started looking at what can I do back home? Which employment am I going to fit back in? You know, because when I left Zambia, you know, I was working for a company which was a South African company, you know, SABC plastic crates, the South African breweries. We used to make those plastic crates for South African breweries, and in Zambia we were making for Zambian breweries, which is under South African breweries. So that's how I left that to come here to the USA. So after school, I had the intention of thinking I can go back home and get employment. But when I started looking at things and people complaining, not getting jobs, you know, the same thing I was talking about, an employment issue, I decided to stay. I came at a time when it was easy in America to get even a driver's license. It was easy for somebody to get their green card and later on get your citizenship. But things started changing slowly as we go in. You know, after 9/11, Bin Laden thing changed the system. So I decided to stay from there, and I've never looked back. So going back home after I started my business, I've been going back home almost 3 to 4 times in a year, which is not enough for running my business, but it's all because I've got the best team of people, you know, that at least I collaborate with. You know, I don't have to worry about what is happening there, because if I get with a proper networking system, communication has really changed now. You know, we have Zoom, we can talk on video calls. So once I make calls with my team, I've got very good people that does vaccinate the animals, you know, and do the sales of whatever is needed, and the rest just works smoothly. So looking at the other question, which involved political landslide, yes, you know, things are really changing in Africa. Right now, I'm talking about Zambia. The 6th president died. In South Africa, they're supposed to be having a burial, and there's so many wrangles going on. He's still in South Africa. They're pulling one another whether he's going to be buried in there. I mean, I'm not a politician, but being a citizen of a country, even if you're not a politician, you get affected with what is going on. You know, remember the issue in Kenya with the Gen Z fighting and all that thing. So even when you're not a politician, as a citizen of that country, you are supposed to be concerned of what is happening. Yes, you know. So as the new leaders, we are the future leaders of today, not tomorrow. So we need to start voicing out to our concern. You may not just be saying it politically, but we need to change that narrative. That's when everybody end up becoming a politician, because you're not happy with what is happening. You know. I hope I've answered your question.
Thank you so much.
Please, thank you. Yes, please.
So I have 3 questions. You want me to ask all 3 or?
It depends. Some of them.
It's interesting.
Yes, you can ask, because you know you can ask them all so that we can compress them.
Yeah. So my first question is about like in your company, do you ever use like technology to increase livestock production and farming practices like within your company? So my second question is, you mentioned about one of the benefits of your company is creating employment in Zambia. So what are the other benefits that your Kabamba Farms has brought into like Zambia's economy? And my third question is about like you leading your company remotely, because I find this very interesting, because back home, so I lead a team, because I'm in the police force. So even though I'm here, I'm still leading them, but it's quite difficult, like doing it like remotely from here. So how do you manage this here?
Okay, good. I can answer all the questions, but you have to remind me when be asking me again.
Okay.
Ask me the first question, because I know if I just say let's start answering, I'll forget to answer them all. So the first question.
It's about the technology.
Yeah, the technology. Yeah. So, you see, we have, like I said, I'm not an expert. Most of the technology part of it comes from our vet team. I've got the people that does animals. For me, when it comes to that part, the only part I play is finances. If they come to me to say, hey, we need to vaccinate the animals, then I'll come in. The technology part that comes in, most of it is work on our cattle. We do artificial insemination. So the artificial insemination, we've bought all the equipment that we can use, because you see a lot of I would say harvesting or planting it's seasonal in Africa. Like in my country, we have that tropical season of rainfall. Our rainfall is from end of September, sometimes early October, until end of April into May. So this is the only time that a lot of farmers will need to plant their crops and harvest, and before as the rainfall finishes, they will start to harvest. So this is the same time that if you are a livestock farmer, this is the same time that you're going to have that pasture that you can feed your animals. So what we do on that one is cattle. They are very good at having a good pasture during that season. So that's the time we use now to make sure that we can inseminate our cows when the rainfall is starting. Because we know that when our cows are pregnant by artificial insemination, they're all pregnant same time. Then when they are like 4 months pregnant, it's rainfall season. The grass is green. You know what I mean? By the end of the 9 months pregnancy, there is still so much grass to feed on. So when the babies are born, they are born almost at the end of the season when the mother was having nutrition food in terms of the pasture. And then when you start getting dry season, the dry season is shorter, then we supplement from our crops that we cultivated, you know, that we harvested. So we make our own stock feed, you know, then we'll buy other feed like sunflower cake just to supplement on that shorter time. That's how we get to use our technology, mostly on the artificial insemination.
Okay.
Second question.
What about the economy? So how do you
Okay.
how is it beneficial to the Zambia?
Yes. So looking at the food industry, like you can imagine, just any food you can think of today. Is there a food you can think of that doesn't come from farming? You know what I mean? So it's like, you know that every day somebody is going to eat. So it's either it's going to be vegetables, or it's going to be meat, eggs from chicken. If you look at pork, pigs, it's got pork chops, bacon, sausages, pork spare ribs, everything. You look at beef, there's milk, there's this and this. So you can imagine that there's so much to contribute to the economy. Just the food security itself, full stop, is enough to contribute. And there's a lot of countries that their source of income to generate to boost the economy is agriculture. So you can imagine, Kenya is very known with coffee. They do, and tea. They do a lot of tea. So you can imagine how many big farms they have there. You look at a country other than the war that they've gone through. You look at Ukraine. Ukraine is one of the small countries, actually it's even smaller than Zambia. But Ukraine is feeding the globe with their wheat, rice, and all that. So you can imagine if Ukraine can harvest that kind of wheat that can feed the globe, and what more is involved in agriculture. So agriculture is an economy booster. So many companies during the recession, most of them will close down, but agriculture will keep going because people need to eat. So you understand how big agriculture is. This is why the world is changing. We need to look into that and realize it's not about my father getting old at the age of 70 when he retires in the mines and he said, oh, I need to go buy that little land and start farming. No, it's about the youth changing the narrative to say, we need to go farming. You know how much employment are in farming. You know how much money is in there. You know, it's something that we need to do. Last question.
Was about how you live your team remotely.
Yes, so this is where now my project management, like I mentioned, you had in my bio, I mentioned that I'm a certified project management professional. So I use those tools. You know, sometimes in school, we go to school to learn, but there's this tradition of thinking we're going to school to learn so that we can get a job. You know, we need to change that mindset. Let's go to school and learn and see what we can do with that education than waiting for that employment. Can I go to school, learn, and create employment? You know, so that's how my project management has really been working. So when I look at the project management tools, I use those project management tools that I learned in school and put it in practice at my farm. I tell myself, okay, for me, doing work remotely, like most of it, if you look at a lot of project management, I can be here in Atlanta, but I'm running a company in New York through project management. We have video calls. I can call all the engineers, SMEs, all other stakeholders, put them in my video call, we start talking. They tell me what they're going to do. I delegate them. This is what needs to be done for this project to go. This project is going to run from such and such a day to this. You put that schedule and you let people go and work. That's project management. So that project management really comes into play for my business. You know, the vet comes in and do the vaccination. I have somebody who's selling the animals, somebody who's feeding them. It's all about that networking.
Okay, just a follow-up question, sorry. But, like what you said, like how do you evaluate that
I think you said something about you having a hard time with that, right? With your team.
No, because I'm used to be there when I'm leading them, but
Yes.
now I'm here, so it's
Yes.
a first time experience.
How do you
So
do
that's so yeah. So how do you evaluate? Like how do you know that they are doing
the right thing?
their best or that? Yeah.
Okay, so first thing first that comes in is trust.
Yeah.
Sometimes in Africa, I'm a very good example. Everything that I've been doing didn't just start from going perfect.
Yeah.
You know, there are times when you meet people. You know, there's so many common things in Africa because of just the hardship. Sometimes you send somebody to go somewhere and do something for you. They go there, they tell them it's 4. They come back to you, they tell you it's 6. So that means you're losing out. So you got to find the right people. That's always my preach, to say find the right people to work with. You're going to realize that you're going to sit back and the whole work will be doing. Just like a company, you find that somebody owns a company, but they've never even stepped a foot in the office of the building because they've dedicated the right people to run the business. So even in your situation, yes, you may be at this time, you are experiencing the problems with getting the right people, and then you're getting frustrated, but don't give up. There is always the right person. You know, I can tell you, for me, when I started, I didn't have the right people. The biggest mistake I actually made, that's how I always try to tell people, I was using my relatives. You see, that's the worst thing you're going to do in business. You will involve your relatives. So my principle in business, I don't work with relatives. If you're my relative, you come in and say, please, my son needs to go to school, I need school fees, I'll give you school fees. Okay, I'll pay for your child to go to school, but I'm not going to make you my manager. Whether you're my sister or you're my brother, I'm not going to employ you to make you my supervisor at my business, because it's going to collapse. Because one, you'll be saying, oh, it's for my brother, it's for my thing. And you guys, I'm sure you understand what I'm talking about. There's so many videos that we watch, even this thing they call the Yahoo, where somebody's in their diaspora and they're sending back money home, they're building a house. When they visit home, there's no house. You know what I mean? And these are real stories. So it's all about finding the right people. And the right people are there. Others, yes, they use their relatives and it works, but not every relative is going to work. And actually, to be honest, the majority of those that have used the relatives, 75%, it never worked. Because somebody will say, oh, it's my brother. He's building a house, it's my brother. Go buy 10 pockets of cement, money for 10 pockets of cement, he goes and buy 4. The other 6, he uses the money, and they'll give you a story. And those things are real. It's not just fiction. Did I get the answers right? Okay, you are the question.
So, as an entrepreneur point of view, so I think one of the biggest difficulties people find is the initial capital. And back in Africa, it's even worse. So, how do you think connections and networking could help that? Because, for instance, me, I'm on a health field, which is even, wherever you want to start in that field, it's even way expensive with the equipment and whatsoever. So, in your perspective, how do you think we can go through this initial capital, maybe with the help of networking, and how do you think that could go?
So yes, that thing happens a lot. A lot of times, people end up giving up their dream or their vision. It's all because of the capital to start something. So normally, what goes on is just never give up. Network. You never know who. Are we running out of time?
Yeah, it's almost 10 minutes. It's up to you.
Okay.
Would you like to switch to the other group?
Do we have more questions?
Yes, but
That's gonna
we
come
are
in?
covering, no?
Yeah, can you wrap up?
Yes.
And I will
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
I will let the other group know.
So again, to the YALI team, Georgia State University, and every fellow leader across the continent, thank you. Thank you for allowing me to tell this story. Thank you for recognizing the power of farming, and thank you for continuing to lead Let's rise together. Let's build Africa, one farm, one dream, one purpose at a time. From Kabamba Farms, this is just a beginning. God bless you all. And thank you for watching. Please subscribe. Take care. Thank you.